Hey guys, Analyzation Skull here again to bring you another Grimoire card reading / discussion, and today we're going to be going over verse 1.2 of the Book of Sorrows, titled the Hateful verse. Let's begin. For the consideration of the Helium Court, written in desperation, this sealed secret, I am Taux, sterile mother, teacher to the children of the Osmium throne. As a mother I live long, as a neuter I can rise above the small battles of court politics. I alone see the patterns of survival, alone I designed the great engines that move the Osmium court now, alone I must act to save my kingdom. Senility has claimed my lord the Osmium king. He is 10, and mad. The study of ancient text consumes him. Today he raves about moons above the storm, tomorrow he will wander the halls speaking to his familiar, a dead white worm from the deep sea. He keeps it in glass, and tends to it, and he neglects the duties of a king. The Osmium king has 3 surviving heirs, each 2 years old. Zero, the youngest and bravest, who wants to be a knight. Sathana, most clever, who wants to be a mother. Aurash, navigator child, who dreams of the infinite ocean. Tomorrow she will return from the Tungustian monoliths. So we know from reading this first section of the Grimoire card that it was written by what is essentially the queen of the Osmium court, the queen to her people, who is writing it in desperation and who is writing it secretly, so nobody must know about it. She obviously has an insidious agenda planned for the consideration of the Helium court, meaning she's writing it to the Helium court, hoping for some sort of plea bargain, it looks like, hoping for some kind of relievance from the way she's living life currently, thinking that her husband has gone mad, finding him an unsuitable ruler, and is obviously in desperation, which it directly states in the card. It goes on to say, none of these are suitable heirs, meaning her children, her and the king's children, which they've made reference to in the previous card. None of them will protect the Osmium court from the howling fundament. Zero can fight, but not lead. Sathana can think, but not fight. Arash's curiosity will draw her away from duty. I fear for all future children. Soon the Osmium king will lock himself into the royal orrery to study the moons. Gather your knights, O helium drinkers, and invade our continent. Kill the 3 heirs. I will rule the Osmium court as your regent, and build engines for you. And if I fail, let the Leviathan in the deep eat me. Written in grief, this hateful request. Taux, Osmium mother, neutered to watch. So reading this section of the Grimoire card, we learn a little bit more about Taux and her intentions as far as leading the Osmium court to survival. She does not believe that her husband, the Osmium king, is a suitable leader, and she doesn't believe her children, the heirs to the throne, are suitable leaders either. And reaching the end of her life, she's also interested in her own survival above all else. So she proposes to the helium drinkers, or the helium court, who threaten the Osmium court every day, as we've learned from the previous Grimoire card, to commission her as the leader of the Osmium court, even if they take control. She in fact implores them to take control, kill her husband, and kill the heirs to the throne, so that she can then maintain a justified rule and a more suitable rule over the kingdom, or a more efficient one, as the almost permanent queen. She is attempting to extend her lifespan and to ensure her survival, regardless of the downfall of the kingdom as she sees it approaching. Taux's ambitions for ultimate survival and her need for preservation of her kingdom outweigh the concern for her family, the people she is meant to rule over and be loyal to, or even the lives of her children. She is willing at this point to betray it all for ultimate preservation of herself and her kingdom, if she can merely be placed at the leading or focal point of her own kingdom by the helium drinkers, whom she expects to take over her kingdom at some point soon in the future, being that she believes her king is going mad. So she is writing this card in secret, essentially because it is viewed as a betrayal, or it's going to be viewed as a betrayal, obviously. She is imploring knights of the Helium court to come and kill the people she is supposed to protect, and to make her leader in their ranks, which is pretty much all this card is stating. It's highlighting her betrayal of the kingdom, which she plans to do in the future, and highlighting the collapse of what the Osmium court is supposed to beat. So that is all essentially of what the second Grimoire card is supposed to reference. It is the betrayal of Taux, the coming of the fall of the Osmium Court, and her need for survival above all else, and her needing to find a way to survive and betray her people, with the Helium Drinker's help, of course. So since we have some extra time here while this video goes on in the background of me killing this boss, we'll continue on to verse 1-3, the third Grimoire card in the Book of Sorrows series. Let us continue. Verse 1-3, the Oath. Sisters, this is how an oath is done. Put your left hands on the mast, close to mine. Take the knife in your right hand. Push it through your left hand, straight between the bones. Now, carve a bloodline down the mast. Speak your oath. I am Zero, youngest daughter of the dead king. I will take back my Osmium Court, and kill the traitor Taux. On my left eye I swear vengeance. In blood the oath is made. I am Sathana, middle daughter of the dead king. I will take back my home, and eat the mother jelly. I will raise my spawn on the corpse of the Helium King. On my right eye I promise this. In blood the oath is made. Now, I will help you make your oath, sister. I will help it too. I am Aurash, first daughter of the dead king. I will chase my father's last screamed warning. I will know what changed the motion of our moons. If the end of the world is coming, I will understand why. On my center eye, I swear it. I will understand. In blood the oath is made. In blood. Thank you, sisters. We have only my ship left to us. But a ship is freedom. We have secrets to hunt, stormlit realms to explore, and great armies to raise. Put up the lightning sails, and we will voyage far. This card is written from the perspective of the three sisters, the three daughters of the Osmium Court, the three heirs to the throne. It's literally written in quote fashion from each of their perspectives as they each speak an oath that they intend to live by. There's a few things we can derive from the context clues here, that this takes place a little bit after, possibly far, or not quite sure how long, after the second Grimoire card, or the second note was written to the Helium Drinkers from Taux in her desperation so that she could be placed in a leading position, far enough to where the Osmium King is dead and they have identified Taux as a betrayer. The Helium Drinkers could very well be in control of most of the Fundament and the Osmium Court at this point in time. But we learn that these three sisters have now pledged oaths to each other and to their people, swearing on their eyes that they will take vengeance on Taux, and they will explore and understand their father's original intentions, and that they will raise their people to become great again. They are making aspirations toward the future, ultimately. This is their ambition, and this is what they are trying to lead their people towards, is their victory and their ultimate coming forth to prosperity once again as an ultimate kingdom, regardless of their desperations for survival and the continuous troubles that they face. They are now setting out on a ship, Arash's ship, her being the navigator, so that they can find a way to survive or to take vengeance upon Taux, using this ship to find Taux or some goal they have in mind, some way that they can ensure prosperity of their people. That is what this card is ultimately describing. It's a quick one. It's simply to establish that we're following their perspectives now, and that vengeance hopefully will be taken upon the Taux, the betrayer, and it's highlighting their intentions for the future. That is what we're dealing with now. On to the next Grimoire card, verse 1-4, the Syzygy. The Syzygy, carved to endure by Aurash, the High Vengeance. This card was carved literally and scrawled down by Aurash. That is what that's letting you know in the intro of it. Anyways. Only Zero's bait stars let us escape. Only Sathana's tricks let us reach the coast. But now that we have my ship, I must lead the way. I am the navigator. We may never see our homes again. Zero sees with hate and fury for Taux, but this is my deepest fear. Our civilization drifts on the Fundament. At the Tunguskan monoliths, I learned that thousands of other species drift with us, coexisting on a vast world sea, and the tides of the Fundament move us all. The timid truth says that we are the smallest, most fragile things alive, the natural prey of the universe. Taux would have us believe that our ancestors came to the fundament to hide from the hungry void. My father died afraid, not of vile Taux or the helium drinkers, but of his orrery. He screamed to me, "Aurash, my first daughter, the moons are different, the laws are bent." And he made the sign of a Syzygy. Imagine the 52 moons of fundament lining up in the sky. It wouldn't take all 52, of course, just a few massive moons, but this is my deepest fear. Imagine their gravity pulling on the fundament's sea, lifting it into a swollen bulge. Imagine that bulge collapsing as the Syzygy passed, a wave big enough to swallow civilizations, a god wave. I have to find a way to stop it, before the god wave annihilates my species. If I could only get back into my father's aurora, I could learn exactly when. We are weeks of travel and many continents away from home. When I am paralyzed by fear, Zero sits in the cabin with me and comforts me with soft, brave words. But more and more we have come to rely on Sathana's wit. She will go off to be alone, she insists she must be alone, and return with some mad idea, steer into the storm, throw down a net, eat that strange beast, explore that menacing wreck. Somehow Sathana seems to manufacture good luck by sheer will. So we know from further context clues of this card that the helium drinkers did in fact invade the Osmium Court. We know that Taux cannot be located, and we know that they barely escaped with their lives. These three heirs had gotten to Arash's ship, and now they are just attempting to survive and find means of further survival so that they can accomplish their goals in the future. We know that each one of them has strengths and weaknesses that all three of them have to cover and have to emphasize, emphasizing their strengths and covering their weaknesses in order to ultimately survive. And we know that Arash is simply writing this down to memorize their history, and so that somebody out there can find remnants of their history when this all becomes relevant. And we know that they are comforting each other, and these three sisters are simply setting out to find a way to again survive whatever it is that they encounter. Anyways, that is the readings of all three of these cards, all that I had time for during this display. I hope you've enjoyed this gameplay going on in the background from the Prison of Elders. I believe this was the second tier of difficulty, or second to the highest tier of difficulty for the Prison of Elders. I forget exactly, but as you can see, I had to destroy the Flame Prince Knight, who was one of the Scions of Oryx, and I hope that was interesting to you, or at least something to focus on if commentary wasn't enough for you. And I hope you enjoyed the readings of these cards. We'll continue on with this story. I hope it's interesting, and I hope it's something you will like to learn and follow in the future. Hopefully something you're interested in. Anyways, we'll continue with these and more parts to this series. This is Analyzation Skull, bringing you more of these Grimoire videos and more Destiny-themed videos. See you in the next one. I'm sitting in a chest. How fun is that?